Hi everyone, welcome to this Woodfired workshop at Manna from Devon Cooking School. In this workshop we're going to be showing you how to make a gluten-free pizza in the wood-fired oven. How to make a gluten-free pizza is a question we are asked a lot at the cooking school, and it is a vexed question for a lot of people who've got a family member or close friends who are gluten-free. I always point people in the direction of this flour, Fioreglut, from Caputo. It's quite a complex recipe. If I read out the ingredients here, we've got gluten-free wheat starch. I don't know how they get the gluten out of wheat, but they do. Gluten-free wheat starch, dextrose, that's a sugar which will help with browning and give it some colour. Maize starch, buckwheat flour, rice starch, psyllium seed fibre, and guar, which is a thickener which gives it some elasticity and some strength and some flavouring. So it's not something we can easily sort of put together ourselves. So we're going to jump straight into making the dough, and this is definitely a candidate for making in a mixer because it's highly hydrated and quite a sticky dough to handle, so it wouldn't be ideal to make it by hand. So in the bowl here I've got the Caputo Fioreglut along with some salt and some yeast, and into that I'm going to add water, and this first mix is kind of 80% hydrated. So we're going to mix that now on a fairly slow mix for about 5 minutes. So you can see I'm using the dough hook here, and every once in a while I scrape it down and make sure everything gets nicely mixed, because as you can see it doesn't become really strong and glutinous and all hang together as one coherent piece of dough. So that's been about 5 minutes, and now I'm going to add a little oil. And by the way, I'm just following exactly the instructions on the pack here, and then with the machine running a little bit faster, I'm going to incorporate that oil for another 1 or 2 minutes. So that's the oil incorporated, and now we're going to let this stand for about 30 minutes, and that allows the various starches to absorb some moisture. Looks a bit like mashed potato at this point. And that's going to go into the fridge, and we'll come back to that in about half an hour. Our gluten-free dough has been in the fridge for 30 minutes and it's starting to rise a little bit. And now we're going to shape this into dough balls, and the dough should have dried out and be a little easier to handle. Now I'm going to do this on oil. I've found this easiest to do on a little bit of oil. So I'm just going to spread that around there and drop the dough out. So we should have enough dough here for 2 dough balls at a little bit over 200 grams. And I'm just going to sort of fold this in, and here the oil really helps because otherwise it would be a very sticky dough, into 2 more or less even pieces. Flip those over and just roughly shape like that. And then a little bit of oil onto the lid of a plastic box. Pop that on there. Same with this one. And then these 2 are going to go back into the fridge for at least 4 hours, so it does need a little bit of planning ahead. Luckily we have planned ahead, and we made 2 dough balls earlier on, and you can see that they've risen rather well even though they've been in the fridge and are very cold. So for this dough, Caputo recommend about 370 degrees centigrade, 700 degrees Fahrenheit, so more of a 1 Mississippi oven than a no Mississippi oven. And So there the floor is sitting somewhere between 300 and 350, and it's going to take 2 or 3 minutes to cook. Remember that everything about your workstation, if you're making regular pizzas, is impregnated with flour and is therefore not gluten-free. Your tools, your work surface, your apron, your towels, the floor of your oven, not gluten-free. So if you're cooking one of these as part of a whole kind of pizza party to accommodate someone who is gluten intolerant, celiac, or non-celiac gluten intolerant, which is a fantastic idea, just make sure that A, you keep everything as clean and separate as possible, and B, that you check with them that they can tolerate a small amount of gluten, because for sure there is going to be some cross-contamination however careful you are. So we've got everything nice and clean here. We've got our dough balls ready. We're going to be shaping this on polenta. This is made of corn, of course, so this is gluten-free. So we're going to pop that out like that and carefully place one of these on there. Now this is not something that we're going to be able to throw out, and because it's quite a soft and sticky dough, quite tricky to roll as well, so I find it easiest just to press these out by hand like that. The cornmeal gives it a nice dry outer surface, which means it doesn't stick to the peel, forms a lovely crust when it cooks, gives it a nice crispness, and although we can't throw that out, we can press it out really nice and thin. Then, to help us get it in and out of the oven, but also to make sure that it doesn't touch the floor of the oven directly where we've been cooking other pizzas, we're going to cook this on a clean piece of silicone. And then I'm ready to top as normal. And in we go. So we're still, as normal, watching one side of the pizza to see when it's ready to give it a turn. That looks about ready to turn. And as with a normal pizza, I turn that around through a full 180 degrees. So that's been another minute or so. I'm going to bring it out and have a little look. Just a little tap of the sides there, and I think we can go for maybe a little more, so I'm going to turn that there just through 90 degrees. And now we're ready, and out we come, and there's a beautifully cooked gluten-free pizza. When I cut into this pizza, you can see there we've got nicely risen, a little bit of air in the crust, nice colour on the base. And a nice texture, and actually these taste really good, and anybody who's gluten-free is going to be very happy with that and feel very nicely included in your pizza party. So that's an entirely gluten-free pizza made in the Santorini oven using Caputo Fioreglut. If you've enjoyed this video and found it useful, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel for regular wood-fired oven recipes. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.